Bournemouth are going to kick off here on BBC Radio Newcastle. The Magpies in their green and white away kit. Pope in goal, Chow, Botman, Byrne the centre-backs, Livramento and Hall as wing-backs, Tonali and Miley in the middle, Murphy and Willock either side of Voltemada up top. There are 7 changes on the bench. Ramsdale, Trippier, Lascelles, Joelinton, Barnes, Kraft, Osula, Elanga and Bruno. Bournemouth through Evan Nielsen start the match. Back it goes, then a long...
that was another strange kick-off, wasn't it?
High, bouncing ball.
Flicked it up and he's volleyed it way up in the air.
Yeah. Caught by Nick Pope as it came down. He puts the ball on the floor, kicks long. Voltemada tries to head it on. Bournemouth win it in front of him. And now it's on the far side of the pitch. Newcastle shooting towards the left. We sit on the opposite side of the ground to the... camera gantry. We are just a few rows back from the Newcastle United bench, and Eddie Howe with his hands in pockets in the technical area. Miley onto Tonali, and tidily done by the Italian. Livramento up the line, cut out by Bournemouth on the far side. They still have possession, the home team, with Petrovic in goal, who they signed from Chelsea in the summer for 25 million. Jimenez, Diakite, Senesi and Truffert at the back. Adams and Scott in midfield. Semenyo, Tavernier, Brooks, Evan Nielsen in attack. And this is Evan Nielsen for Bournemouth. The Brazilian striker got 12 goals last season, won this, the winner at Spurs last month. Now it's with centre-back Senesi, the Argentinian. Side to Adams, back to Senesi, next to the centre circle. Lifted in behind Livramento, but he recovered to head it away. Flag has stayed down and Bournemouth have it back. They roll it up the left wing. Truffert with a cross, Byrne climbs, gets even bigger and wins the header. Semenyo on the edge of the penalty area, loses out to Willock. Hall's got it now, chips it up the line to Voltemada, takes it and holds it well, and then tries to turn, but ran out of space and it goes for a throw, which is put back into play by Bournemouth. Midfielder Alex Scott there, who scored their opening goal in the 2-1 win over Brighton last weekend. Semenyo got the winner from the penalty spot in the second half. Scott playing it back to his central defenders, and Senesi here chipping it towards Semenyo, who nods it down, but the flag comes up. He beat Hall to the ball in the air, edge of the box, nodded it backwards, but it is now Newcastle United free kick. Bournemouth's bench today, by the way, Will Dennis is the goalkeeper, Julio Soler centre-back, Ryan Christie the midfielder back from injury, Ben Gannon-Doak, the former Liverpool player who was signed by Bournemouth this summer, Justin Kluivert, Amin Adli, Junior Krupi, James Hill and Veljko Milosavljevic, who is an 18-year-old Serbian defender. Another summer signing as Bournemouth reshaped their squad after losing Dean Howson to Real Madrid, Ilya Zabani to PSG, Milos Kerkez to Liverpool, and the goalkeeper Kepa went from Chelsea to Arsenal, having been on loan. Lewis Hall with a cross from the left, caught by Petrovic in the middle of the penalty box.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst ball played in, was it? Just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Still looking to find his range, isn't he? Hasn't played a great deal of football this season. Well, hasn't played any football at all, to be fair, this season. It's good to have him back, isn't it?
Brought inside on halfway by Bournemouth. Now Tavernier up to Evan Nielsen, who was a yard off his man, was able to take it, turn, lay it off. Newcastle then cut out through ball, it headed back by Fodi Diakite into his own half to Senesi. Header there by Malik Chow for Newcastle, collected by Brooks for Bournemouth in the centre, 30 yards out, cleared by United. Everybody bar Voltemada behind the ball. It's now with Adams, and it's the home team in the 5th minute who They've seen most of the possession in the early period here at the Vitality Stadium. They almost lose it through a short pass from Brooks in midfield, but just keep hold of the ball on the left. Now on halfway with Senesi, up to Brooks, and he's played it behind Truffert, and out it goes next to the Newcastle away section, just where it begins, which is about 10 yards from the halfway line. Single tier on all the 4 stands at Bournemouth Stadium, and about 1,000 or so away supporters. They don't get many here because they can't get that many in.
It's a long old trip as well.
The longest domestic Premier League trip that they'll do. It was supposed to be yesterday, but was put back to today when the Barcelona match was scheduled for the Thursday night. They obviously can't play twice inside 48 hours. So Bournemouth, with about 3 weeks' notice, was changed. 0-0. Chow cuts out the cross, and it goes for a throw near the corner flag on the far side. Still Bournemouth enjoying most of the ball, having had sunshine earlier. We've now got cloud on the south coast, and the floodlights have come on, and there's a breeze across the Vitality Stadium, a chilly one. Here comes the throw, headed across the box. Jimenez with a shot from the edge of the area after it was half cleared, blocked on its way through towards goal. Back to halfway by Bournemouth. Truffert to Adams, the American international midfielder. Back again to the French fullback. And Senesi now on the halfway line. Everybody pretty much in their starting position, following the throw into the box. Senesi on his left, plays it to Scott and gets it back again. Senesi tries to chip it in behind Livramento. It's too long for Semenyo. He switched sides with Brooks. Semenyo now on the left. Nick Pope has the ball, puts it down. 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle. If you're looking for Sunderland against Aston Villa, also goalless. DAB, Freeview Channel 711, or the BBC Sounds app for commentary from the Stadium of Light. Baltimore penalised for a push. Bournemouth free kick in the 8th minute. They've got to go back and do it.
Seen this yesterday.
Dewsbury Hall.
Did you see him get
Everton,
booed for taking a free kick too quickly?
No yellow card for the Bournemouth player there, but referee is Rob Jones from Merseyside. Can't do it before the referee's ready. His last Newcastle match was actually their last away win, Leicester, in April. Matt Donoghue is the VAR today. Good play between Brooks and Tavernier, and Brooks bursts into the box on the right. Then a back heel, and Adams is coming onto it, and Pope makes a save with his foot. How often does Nick Pope make a save with either his foot or his legs? He's done it again there, blocking the shot. Corner kick now as Willock tackles Brooks, as Bournemouth try to put Newcastle under pressure again on the near side. That was a good burst and a good break by Brooks. Adams had the shot, Pope equal to it.
Not too sure how much he knew about it. He just sticks a leg out, doesn't he? We see him do it so many times. Just sticks a big leg out, gets something on it.
Corner on the right. Brooks left-footed. It's good pacey delivery. Header away by Newcastle, volleyed in by Jimenez. Lovely technique. It was going well wide of goal, but it's gone out for a Bournemouth throw on the far side. They've had the better of it in 9 minutes, with the only effort there of the game so far, but also most of the ball. Still 0-0, and Newcastle with their 7 changes yet to settle into it. Up the left wing, Bournemouth with Scott, and now Semenyo. Had a brief and probably unremarkable loan spell at Sunderland when they were in League One, Semenyo, but he's gone on to become a top Premier League player. On the near side, centre-back Diakite tries to slip one in for the run of the full-back Alex Jimenez, the Spanish under-21 international, but it's overhit on the goal kick. Semenyo's now come over to the right-hand side.
Yeah, he switches, doesn't he?
But he changes. He can cut in from this side. Probably Bournemouth's biggest threat. Sven Botman takes this goal kick. Header on by Voltemade, but nobody there in Newcastle green. It's Bournemouth black and red who have the ball. Black shorts and black socks for the home side.
Not the best clearance by the goalkeeper.
United have it back. Botman to Miley. Got a man on, so has to go back to Botman. Now they play forwards to Tonali. First real chance to have the ball in the Bournemouth half. Murphy takes over, 30 yards out. Willock makes a run into the box. Voltemade, good layoff. Tonali now for Murphy in the area. Jacob Murphy draws a save, near post from Petrovic, then crosses, and Willock can't get a piece of it, but Lewis Hall, edge of the area, has it. Back to Willock. And now Miley. Thought about hitting it, goes wide right to Livramento. Inside to Murphy, then back to Livramento again. They try to combine once more, and it's put behind by Brooks. Corner kick for Newcastle United.
Best bit of play so far, wasn't it?
Good move involving Murphy, Voltemade and Tonali. And Voltemade's touch when he links up the play, and what we've seen in 3 matches, is excellent.
He's got a great touch for such a big man. Angle was always tight for Murphy. Did just get it on goal and see what happens. That's exactly what he's done.
Here comes the corner, a Lewis Hall in swinger, scooped in. Petrovic punches, he's off his line. Tonali's got it and drives the shot back in. It hits Miley and Voltemade stabs it to goal, but it's cleared off the line or in front of the line, and you've spotted an offside flag up there. So it's a Bournemouth free kick, but when Petrovic came to punch, his goal was unguarded. Tonali took it down and then fired it back through, but there are
5 of them.
3 players that are offside. Voltemade, after a deflection, took it away from the goalkeeper towards goal, and a few yards in front of the line. Bournemouth cleared it, but the flag came up.
Yeah. Good bit of play though, wasn't it? And it just shows the height in there from set pieces. Keeper did well actually, because I know you're saying he's off his line, but he's decisive. He comes and he gets a decent punch on it, gets decent contact on it. It's what you want your keeper to do. 13th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Semenyo takes it down. He's got in behind Hall and sends the cross to the near post straight into the arms of Nick Pope. I expect better from him from that, don't you? Lewis Hall gets sucked under it, gets in behind him. He's got to do better.
Pope puts the ball on the floor. Evan Nielsen came towards him, then it's released by the keeper. Voltemade got the touch and then charges down a clearance. Adams for Bournemouth, given away to Tonali. Murphy, man on, still going. Jacob Murphy, still going. Murphy's left-footed shot is off target. Set it up really nicely for himself.
Got the confidence, hasn't he?
Went for glory. You can't blame him, but it swung away from goal off the outside of his left boot from 20 yards. 0-0.
Yeah, it's better though. All of a sudden we're seeing a bit of the ball.
And the noise coming from the away fans on the far side after a couple of attacks from United. Bournemouth back with possession. But they've given it away. Chow to Murphy. Livramento here in a tight spot on the far touchline, finds space to pass it to Lewis Miley, his first Premier League start of the season, only made 1 league start last season. He's got it again from Hall, and now Willock holds off Diakite, tried to squeeze it through for Miley on the inside, but Bournemouth have pinched it back. Tavernier looking for space for the shot, and it's blocked at the edge of the area by the Newcastle defence, and it's with the home team on the far side. And now Alex Scott in the centre of the park. Diakite, who they signed from Lille for 35 million last month. Up the line, Tavernier, edge of the area, a through ball to Evan Nielsen, and on the far side, turned in by David Brooks, but the flag is up to deny Bournemouth the opening goal. And how Newcastle are relieved to see the assistant Neil Davies put his flag up for Brooks for the offside created by Tavernier and then Evan Nielsen, but it won't count. Brooks getting on the end of it, Ando, offside near the 6-yard line.
Yeah, he's offside.
Bournemouth had a goal disallowed in this fixture last season. Do you remember it? Dango Ouattara, who's now at Brentford, in added on time at the end of the game, would have won it for them for handball.
And they said afterwards it shouldn't have been disallowed.
Well, mind you, VAR is taking a proper look at this. It looked very much from the angle we had that Brooks was offside. And now they're trying to see whether he was played or he is offside.
Seen it once and knew it was offside.
They don't have to make you doubt yourself, don't they? Your eyes don't lie, but sometimes they do when
they do to them fellas.
When VAR's involved. It's offside, it's 0-0. Pope looking for the feet of Voltemada with the ball dropping, but Bournemouth have got it back, and Bournemouth are just being Bournemouth, aren't they? Intensity, quick attacking play. They've won a corner. Miley with the challenge on Tavernier on this near right hand side. Brooks, having just had one chalked off, comes over to take it. The semi-automated offside graphics are now being displayed on the giant screens in 2 of the corners at the Vitality Stadium. Brooks's lower left arm, half of his boot and his knee were offside. He takes the corner with his left foot, headed across the box and caught by Nick Pope in the 6-yard area. That's a tight offside when you look at it that way. Bit like
he was offside.
Here's Botman, Murphy running in behind, trying to get onto this. Diakite backpedaling, wins the ball in the air. Miley to Byrne, and the big man on halfway. He's got the captain's armband. Down Byrne with Bruno on the bench. Hall tripped next to the halfway line.
It's fortunate because he'd overrun it.
Whistle goes for a Newcastle United free kick. Sven Botman, who started at Leeds when they also played with 3 central defenders last month. Back to Pope, left-footed ball, looking for Voltemada. Senesi gets in front of him, brings it down. Adams put out by Byrne. Throw close to halfway. Jimenez didn't get any real purchase on the ball, and Hall's got it back and wins another free kick on his way up the left side. And Eddie Howe's telling his players to calm down, slow down. Jason Tyndall's come off the bench as well. And he's got a message for Sven Botman, who leaves the free kick for Lewis Hall. Malik Chow goes forwards, as does Byrne.
They all do. Send all them big boys forward, just dump it in there.
There is a significant height advantage. Bournemouth don't have too many who are over 6 foot, apart from the goalkeeper who's 6'4".
Just lump it in there. Play, even if you don't win it, just play off second balls.
It's diagonal from Hall to the edge of the area. Botman helps on. Byrne looking for it, heads it forwards. Bournemouth appeal for a bit of holding from Byrne in the box. I think he had a hold of the player who also had a hold of him. It could have gone either way. It was cleared, and now Miley up the line, but can only help it on. Nobody running beyond. Bournemouth got the situation under control there with Scott. Turns and goes back to the goalkeeper. Petrovic, high ball into the middle of his own half. Byrne with a header, then Byrne with a forward pass straight to the midfielder Scott. He's got long hair and a hairband on, wearing number 8 and low socks. Small shin pads on Alex Scott. Played forwards now by the Bournemouth defence to the edge of Newcastle's area. Lewis Miley here looking to carry it forwards, does, releases Tonali, Murphy up the line. Tonali carries it over halfway, leaves it for Murphy, who plays it inside to Livramento. First time back to Murphy. Now the switch, looking for Hall in behind and over the top of Jimenez. The defender wins it. Newcastle without the ball. Adams on the touchline, tried to turn and took it out of play. Hall's throw to Voltemada. He's got it on the corner of the area, scoops it inside, but nobody there. Murphy was closest, but a good few yards from where the ball ended up. And a driving run into Newcastle territory now from left back, from Adrien Truffert. It's back to Scott on halfway. And Bournemouth with possession, but 21 minutes played after...
It's pretty even.
Yeah, the opening 10 minutes where Bournemouth were dominating possession, Newcastle come into it a bit more. That said, as Evan Nielsen has a cross blocked, and Brooks now concedes a throw, but it's next to Newcastle's corner on the left. They've had a goal disallowed and Pope's made a save, but definitely better from Newcastle than in the opening few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't see a great deal of the ball in the opening few minutes, but saying that, you still feel that set pieces is going to be a big advantage for us.
Byrne, long throw up the line, Adams heads on, Brooks inside, Tonali's header, then Adams gets it again, Brooks back to Jimenez. On halfway now, Bournemouth, who go backwards with it. And on the left, Truffert into Senesi. Left it back out to Truffert. Senesi again, those two on the ball, now in the penalty area with Scott. Some Bournemouth appeals for handball, in fact it's offside against the home team.
How late was that?
Well, we heard the fan cry for handball after it went into the penalty area. Newcastle won it, the first ball, and Bournemouth got it back. But offside was the decision. BBC Radio Newcastle, it's goalless, and it's Pope, Chow, Botman, Byrne. Livramento and Hall are wing backs, Miley and Tonali in the middle, Murphy and Willock and Voltemada up front. 7 changes. Chow came on against Liverpool and against Barcelona. Now starting for the first time. Tonali up to Voltemada, centre of his own half, looks for the return pass to Tonali, cleared by Bournemouth after it was helped on. Back with Nick Pope, wearing light blue today. Miley round the corner, away from Scott, edge of the area, leaves space for Chow to carry it, and he looks comfortable on the ball. We saw some of that on Thursday night. He's brought it up to halfway and then come back to Miley, who with his bright red boots passes it to Botman, left of the centre circle. Botman to Hall inside, tried to help it into the centre of midfield, but it's intercepted. Antoine Semenyo here, cut out by Miley, then Hall away from Semenyo. Newcastle trying to come forwards, Willock up the line, gets it from Hall, and now Lewis Hall carries on his run as Joe Willock drives up the left wing, taking on Adams. Willock into the box, it's a good run from Willock, and passes it across the penalty area, but Voltemada can't get it. Bournemouth stab it clear, but it's not convincing defending. 0-0, and Chow in the 24th minute. Tonali on the right of midfield to Livramento. Chow now on the touchline and back to Botman on halfway. Byrne is square, Botman comes into the centre circle, then wide left with the pass to Hall. Got a man at his back, returns it to Botman. Now at the back of the centre circle, Bournemouth have forced Newcastle away from their goal as Murphy looks for Voltemada and then back to Murphy. Good link up. Jacob Murphy into the area. Takes his time, assesses his options, looks for the cut back to Voltemada. It's blocked. Now he finds Lewis Miley. but he can't get the shot off. Miley back to goal in the area.
Hit it!
He feeds Tonali. Tonali's effort over the top. Sandro Tonali, 20 yards from goal, right of centre, set up by Miley, took a touch and just got underneath the shot. Bit of swerve on it. Bournemouth goal kick.
I thought young Miley was going to hit it first time with his left foot. Didn't fancy it, did he?
Voltemada and Murphy, that was nice. Really enjoy watching the way Voltemada brings other players into the game. Been a couple of instances of that today. And now Bournemouth at the other end with Tavernier, who put them 1-0 up in this fixture last season, the 1-1 draw that we talked about earlier when they had that controversial disallowed goal very late. Anthony Gordon scored for Newcastle that day. Semenyo to Tavernier on the edge of the D. Jimenez, and his cross from the near side hits Joe Willock and goes out. Throw's going to come in from Semenyo, sitting on the digital advertising board. Now he jumps to the touchline. Newcastle head the throw away, and Scott's effort,
poor effort
on the volley, hits the advertising board on the top of the stand.
Yeah, it was a poor effort. He had time, didn't he? Snatched at it, thankfully.
BBC Radio Newcastle. Another reminder that if you are going to be out and about later this afternoon, you want to keep listening to the Newcastle United perspective on this match, you can listen to us through the BBC Sport website and app today. Look for the Premier League live page, and the option to listen to the BBC Radio Newcastle commentary is on there. Through ball from Bournemouth. Nick Pope leaves his penalty area, slides it out of play. Nothing risky from the goalkeeper. Fode Diakite for Bournemouth, and across halfway to Marcos Senesi. Willock closes down Jimenez. It goes back to halfway to Diakite. Truffert up the left wing, goes towards Brooks, near to the touchline. Scott now to Brooks, wide to Truffert, inside to Scott. They're moving it well enough, Bournemouth, but Newcastle got plenty of bodies back. Now the cross comes in. Dan Burn with a header clear. Jacob Murphy helps it on. Scott has it back, closed down by Tonali. Brooks and Truffert link up.
Chow just cleaned them out, didn't he?
He's wagging his finger at the referee as he walks away, Malik Chow, but the free kick's been given to Bournemouth.
Just left it there, didn't he?
Brooks was taken down.
Just planted his foot, Chow.
So 0-0 with a free kick to defend. Newcastle away supporters right next to this, just over 20 yards from the goal line, but wide on the left. Pope in the 6-yard box, everybody else just ahead of the penalty spot. Semenyo around the back. Newcastle with the height advantage.
Huge height advantage.
Brooks sends it in, flashes it in, and it's hit one United player, Tonali, and then being put out by another, Botman.
What a wicked ball that was.
Who was in front of the goalkeeper. Well, maybe if it's floated in, Newcastle with the aerial prowess that they have might be favourites, but if you whip it in at that height, like shoulder height, it causes problems, and it did.
It did. It's a great ball whipped in. Botman's got something on it, but all he's helped it onto another defender, and then he's leaning backwards, he just scoops it away.
We're waiting for something, and now the wait is over. Maybe they were looking at a handball, possibly, I don't know. Half an hour gone, it's going to be a Bournemouth throw, nothing more than that. Semenyo to the near side of the box, headed by Diakite. It's gone away from the penalty area. Botman heads clear. Murphy closes down. Scott's pass to Treffer, not the best, and they have to go all the way back. Bournemouth, the manager Andoni Iraola is frustrated. Blue shirt and black jumper starts kicking an imaginary ball by the side of the pitch and remonstrating with his coaching staff. Not happy. Must have wanted them to stick it back in there. Diakite up to Evan Nielsen. Botman makes a tackle, and it's a fair one. Miley to Murphy, onto Voltemada, but Murphy's ball just had too much on it. Got away from the big German. Tavernier for Bournemouth, dispossessed by Hall. Voltemada trying to get it, then Hall's won it back with another header. Voltemada takes it between two players and then gets eased out of it. The clearance from Bournemouth straight to Chow at the front of the centre circle. Newcastle United looking for the opening goal, and they have it on the right wing with Livramento. Murphy takes a tumble under a challenge, nothing given. Referee Rob Jones lets Bournemouth play on, and Livramento with an important tackle in the middle of the park. Jacob Murphy stayed down. The match has continued. Dan Burns sticks it out, and Murphy needs some help. On comes the physio with the medical bag. 0-0 in the 32nd minute. Did you think that was a foul, John Anderson, on Murphy?
No, it looks like he's planted his studs and just gone over. Looks like he's gone to go, planted his studs.
Might have rolled his ankle then. Going back a moment or two when the free kick from Brooks, very good free kick, great ball, like you said, came in. It hit Tonali on the hand, but his arm was in, so bent, angled against his chest. Therefore, it's not an unnatural position, so that would have been why. No handball. Murphy pulled up to his feet, plants his studs in the grass, and tries to walk it off. Newcastle put the ball out. Bournemouth will surely, will they, in interests of sporting etiquette, return it to them.
Referee saying it's up to you.
Dan Burn, who put it out, goes to speak to Antoine Semenyo. The home fans don't like it. Semenyo throws it behind for a goal kick. Dan Burn finds it quite amusing. Tyler Adams, the Bournemouth midfielder, goes to complain to the referee. Nick Pope with a goal kick, a long goal kick. 0-0 here, also 0-0 Sunderland against Aston Villa at the Stadium of Light. A reminder that when both teams play at the same time, we split our frequencies. Sunderland commentary on DAB, Freeview Channel 711 and BBC Sounds. Here's Byrne with the ball inside, won back by Bournemouth. Tavernier in the centre of Newcastle's half, passes it to the left. Brooks, another cross in from the Welsh international, caught by Pope.
Bread and butter, isn't it? Bread and butter. Those scooped crosses.
Rolled out underarm to Malik Chow. Diagonal ball from Chow onto the left boot of Lewis Hall. High foot from Hall. Bournemouth still have it. Referee allowed play to continue. Semenyo switches it to the far side. Newcastle head it on. Treffer is first to it. Up the line to Brooks and back again. Senesi with a chip clearance. Header on by Evan Nielsen, who climbed well. There's 2 players down, head injury potentially, Evan Nielsen and Livramento, and Rob Jones, the referee, has stopped the game. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle United 0. And the referee tells the medical teams who were ready by the side of the pitch that they are not required. Evan Nielsen's back up, Livramento is not yet. Seems as though he'll be okay. News from Sunderland of a red card. The left back Reynildo has been dismissed. I'm not sure why, but they are a man down, but it's 0-0 with Aston Villa. Violent conduct, we are told. Well, some drama on Weir side here. Bournemouth looking to put Newcastle under pressure. Semenyo ran into Dan Burn at the edge of the box after getting a bit of space on the right. He cut in and then was tackled up to Voltemada by Hall.
Well played.
Nicely held and laid off by Voltemada again, and Tonali into space for Chow. For United to break over halfway, up the line to Livramento. Okay, after that clash of heads. Murphy back to goal, corner of the penalty area, wide to Livramento again, drop to Tonali, swinging cross deep, which Hall can't keep in. And it's Bournemouth's throw at right fullback. Over in the corner there with Jimenez. Short to Adams, back to Jimenez, whose header is intercepted by Willock. Now Hall drops his shoulder, goes on the outside of a couple, and Adams dispossesses him. And the home side have a chance to bring it away, but Miley helps it forwards. Voltemada didn't give this one up, and Diakite had to quickly play it back to his goalkeeper. From inside the penalty box, and a throw for the home side on the far side. Ball back in play, and Tonali has it for United, who've regained possession. Livramento forwards. Murphy seems to be alright after hurting himself in that challenge a few minutes ago. Can't get there. Lumped forwards, headed back to Nick Pope by Dan Burn. Hall facing his own goal. Pushed over by Jimenez.
Soft. That's soft. Big boys going forward again. Lump it in there.
Nick Pope's going to take
plenty of air time on it.
Pope will, from the left-hand side in Newcastle's half, drive it up the pitch, and it's dropping now.
Go and attack that.
Voltemada tries to climb and head on. It beat him. Bournemouth nodded away. Voltemada with another header, brave header from Willock, who's been caught there. Hall with a cross that's cut out, and Semenyo stopped by Burn on his run forwards. Botman to Chow next to the centre spot. Could go back to the goalkeeper. Instead goes to Livramento behind halfway. Scooped up to Voltemada, who chests it and then gets away. Good turn by the big man. Nick Voltemada on the right. Then the cross into that
good
arms
feed
of the keeper.
Good feed again.
Dan Burn backpedaling, off balance, heads it out on the near side, and Evan Nielsen tried to throw it to Tavernier, but threw it beyond him, so they can't take a quick throw to get the match started when the ball was off the pitch. Baltimore in long sleeves like we've seen so far. And the rest of his teammates all in short sleeves, including goalkeeper Nick Pope. 0-0. Adams back to Diakite for Bournemouth in the centre circle. 5 minutes to half time. The French centre back is allowed time. He plays it to the right to Jimenez. Tavernier back to Diakite. Tavernier's chip into the box. Evan Nielsen made the run but couldn't get close. Applauds the ball. Nick Pope gathers. Botman goes long, too long. All the way through to Georgi Petrovic, the Bournemouth keeper. Back out on the near side, Lewis Hall with a Newcastle throw. Tanali just ahead of him. Hall needs an option somewhere, and he looks long for Voltemada, but it's onto the head of Adams, but given away by Semenyo to Voltemada. Now Hall goes for the switch. Great ball, brilliant from Lewis Hall. The vision and then the execution of the pass. Livramento 30 yards out, taking on Brooks. Goes on the outside again. Livramento's high cross to the back post, headed by Jimenez and cleared by the defender. Byrne gets to the ball, but it's now with Evan Nielsen. He lifts it around Byrne, but out of play for a United throw. Quickly taken by Hall to Tanali, back again and inside to Chow. Moving it with speed. Newcastle wanting to get on with the game, wanting to get into...
Don't want to do that too often, you get booked.
Let's get into a position where they can get in front before half time. Murphy wants a free kick after he played the ball and the challenge came in, nothing given. Bournemouth's pass and intercepted by Willock. Tanali up to Voltemada, great turn and a touch on to Murphy, whose cross looks for Willock at the back post. It sent him wide of goal, but Newcastle still have it in the corner on the left, this near side. 42nd minute. Voltemada again looking very neat and tidy. Botman back on halfway as they keep possession. And with Chow now probably closer to his own box than halfway, decides to play a safe pass to Nick Pope, who might go long. He does. Voltemada backing in, wins the header for Willock. Nice knockdown, and Tanali on the right, just inside the Bournemouth half. He's got space, Sandro Tanali. And now Livramento for support. Up the line to Tanali, then back inside for Livramento. They've worked it well. Livramento to Willock, wide to Tanali. Up the line for Murphy, tried to turn it inside, but he's lost it. And away, and deep into United territory, gathered by Nick Pope, who made his 100th appearance for the club on Thursday against Barcelona in all competitions. They're looking for Murphy here from Chow's pass, but Truffau's defended it well. And Scott with Tanali at his back plays it to Truffau again, and the goalkeeper now, Petrovic, receives it in the penalty area, swings it away. Byrne penalised for the challenge on Semenyo, having won the ball in the air from the goalkeeper's pass up the pitch. It looked like Semenyo was holding on to Byrne, but what was Byrne doing to Semenyo? The same or worse, or what?
6 and 1/2 a dozen, wasn't it?
A minute and a half until we get the numbers board. 0-0. Diakite's pass blocked by Willock. Now they chase after the loose ball. The defender sends it back to his goalkeeper. Bruno and Joe Linton are warming up to the left, and they applaud Willock as they make their way back to the bench for his work there in midfield. Byrne with a header at the edge of the box. Now Hall. That's a bit tight. He's played it inside to Miley, and out it goes. Newcastle throw at left back. Bit fortunate there. referee tells Hall to get back. His first start since the 26th of February at Liverpool. Then he suffered the season-ending foot injury that required surgery, missed the cup final. Good to see him playing again. Here's Tonali. Up the line but out. And Bournemouth have a problem with Adams, who's gone down requiring treatment. May not require treatment. Referee is checking. Adams is helped up, and they can restart the match with a throw. 4 minutes of additional time is the minimum that we'll play at the end of the first half here on BBC Radio Newcastle. No goals yet, although Bournemouth did have one ruled out. Brooks was offside. Newcastle, best chance. Murphy with the shot saved at the near post. Tonali, the effort over. Probably it in terms of efforts. Voltemada got in on the right, didn't he? They've been into some good positions, mainly on the right, but probably not as many chances as you would hope they would create. 7 changes today, some big names on the bench as well because of the alterations, and 3 centre-backs, so different system. Jimenez goes on the outside of Hall, who deflects the cross. It still goes into the box, but the touch from Hall took a lot of the pace out of the ball. Cleared by Newcastle into midfield, forward by Adams. Then Willock makes a challenge on Tavernier, says that it should be Newcastle's throw, but the officials say no. They give it Bournemouth's way, and it's back in play in midfield. Scott away from Tonali, but then Scott tackled by Chow. Oh, chance to break, but not, because Miley played the pass ahead of Murphy and he couldn't get there. Now Murphy into the box, defending well, intercepting the through ball and playing it against a red and black shirt, and that's a goal kick. 0-0.
It's been scrappy, hasn't it?
It's very much Sunday early kickoff. It's got that vibe about it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and that
but
feel.
It's been scrappy. Neither side's really got a grip of it.
2 minutes of the minimum 4 remaining. At half-time at BBC Radio Newcastle, we'll have a look at the day's other action, some latest scores from women's football, and the rest of the day's sport and North East sports news. Header on by Voltemada, Willock running, goalkeeper came, Senesi, the centre-back, decided to clear, and Jimenez has brought it down, and it's come to Willock in the corner. Hall for Newcastle, ending the half on the attack. Miley inside to Byrne, used it well. Byrne now to Botman. Chow gives him an angle, slightly behind Chow on halfway, but he plays it forwards now, having received it. Murphy back to Chow, forced away from an attacking area by Bournemouth. And Hall knocks it one side of Jimenez and goes the other. It's pulled back, and that's a yellow card for the on-loan AC Milan fullback. Rob Jones, the referee. Easy decision to make. Clear yellow card offence. Had to do it to stop Hall breaking away, and in the final minute of the 4 shown on the numbers board, Newcastle free kick just behind halfway, and same again with the centre halves, the 3 of them joining Big Nick Voltemada. But the Bournemouth line is high as well, isn't it? That's right through the middle of their half.
Yeah, very high line.
Hall clips it. Byrne looking interested, edge of the area. Botman as well. They've managed to knock it down, but straight to Bournemouth players at the edge of the area. Still got 15 seconds or so. Hall in the centre circle. Another long ball looking for Byrne. He's going to give away a free kick here.
He can't complain about that one.
In the back of his man at the edge of the penalty area. Rob Jones has had enough. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium. Newcastle's 2 Premier League away matches this season have finished goalless. and this one is halfway to being a third 0-0 draw on the road. Bournemouth with one disallowed, Newcastle with a couple of chances. But you said a few minutes ago, Andrew, the word you used was scrappy.
Yeah, it has been scrappy. Neither side's really been able to get hold of it. Both sides have had their moments, haven't they? I think Voldemar has done well up top, holds it up well, brings people into the game well. Bournemouth haven't played with the energy and intent that we've seen in the past. We haven't really played with that intent either. It's always difficult when you make 7 changes as well, of course. But it's been, it's as you said earlier, Reza, it's been a typical early Sunday kickoff. It's been pretty flat.
The changes also meant a change of system.
Yeah, systems work well.
Yeah.
I think Chow's done all right. Botman's been okay. Bourne, yeah, nice to see Hall back, feeling his way back into it. So it's. I think Eddie Howe will be pretty pleased at half time.
And finally, we've liked little bits that we've seen from Voltemada. Yes, he did well against Wolves, he's done well again.
Yeah, he has done well. He's held it up well, he's brought people into the game, his touch has been good. More of the same in the second half.
And that second half will be live here on BBC Radio Newcastle and the BBC Sport website and app. But at the break, at the Vitality Stadium on the South Coast, AFC Bournemouth 0, Newcastle United 0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
There's a cheating scandal that has rocked the annual World Stone Skimming Championships. Some competitors were found to have tampered with their stones.
They're measured by a flat metal device known as the Ring of Truth. Dr. Kyle Matthews is the tossmaster and is in charge of the event.
So the guy who's like the referee of the Stone Skimming Challenge.
The tossmaster.
It's an interesting job title, isn't it?
The tossmaster.
I think I've got an ex-boyfriend with the exact same job title.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well then, 2 games, no goals. Sunderland 0, Aston Villa 0, and Bournemouth 0, Newcastle United 0. Sunderland are down to 10 men though. Reinildo sent off for violent conduct 10 minutes before the end of that first half. We'll be back with our respective commentary teams for full coverage of the second halves from the Stadium of Light and the Vitality Stadium in about 10 minutes' time. Lots of other football going on elsewhere today. These are the only two 2 o'clock games in the Premier League. Arsenal against Manchester City is at 4:30. But also today there is a Scottish League Cup quarter-final that's going to kick off in about half an hour's time between Partick Thistle and Celtic. There's a championship game between Bristol City and Oxford at 3 o'clock. Excuse me. And lots of women's games today as well, although Aston Villa against Liverpool in the Women's Super League postponed, and we'll come back to the reasons for that in a minute or two. The other 2 games that have already finished, Brighton have beaten West Ham by 4-1, and Chelsea have kept up their perfect start to the season, beating Leicester 1-0. Aggie Beaver-Jones after 7 minutes. Manchester United against Arsenal kicked off at the fairly random time of 2:50, so they're only a couple of minutes into that one. It is half-time, though, in the 5 games in WSL 2, because the 6th game of this weekend was played on Friday night when Sunderland beat Durham by 2-1 at Eppleton. Newcastle United are playing today, but they are 3-0 down at Birmingham at half-time. Veatriki Sari, Bathsheba Louis, and then Lily Croftthwaite, who moved from Durham in the summer with Birmingham's goals. So Newcastle 3-0 down at Birmingham at half-time. It's Charlton 0, Ipswich 0. Crystal Palace are 2-0 up at Nottingham Forest. Van Havermaet and Kirsty Howitt with their goals. Portsmouth leads Sheffield United by 1-0, and it is goalless at half-time between Southampton and Bristol City. But I mentioned that the Liverpool women's game was postponed. That's because of the death of their former manager, Matt Beard, at the age of just 47, that was announced yesterday. Tributes have been paid from all across the women's game to genuinely one of the great modern-day champions of women's football. And one of the most poignant tributes came from Farrah Williams, the former England midfielder, who won back-to-back WSL titles with Liverpool under Matt Beard. That included the incredible 2014 season, or the incredible final day day of that 2014 season. Liverpool went into the final day third in the table, but managed to overhaul both Chelsea and Birmingham to retain their title on goal difference. Lucy Bronze actually scored one of Liverpool's 3 goals that day, the game that ultimately won them the title. Farrah Williams scored one of the others, and she has been speaking to Steve Crossman on BBC Radio 5 Live.
He was more than a manager, a great mentor for me, a great friend, somebody that saw maybe potential in me that maybe I didn't see myself. When I had difficult periods outside of football, he was there. He was like an older brother. You know, we had laughs together, similar humour, just somebody that cared about everybody else.
So, I mean, look, we can talk about him as a manager, but actually what the sense I'm getting just from reading the tributes is whatever you were, if you were involved in the women's football community, if you played under him, if he was the opposing manager, or if he was just someone you crossed paths with, everybody just seems to see him as one of the good guys, as someone with so much warmth. Absolutely. I think, you know, the warmth he gave people whenever he came into contact with him, I think that was something that was special about him. Always greeted you with a hello, darling. That was his line. A warm hug. He's seen everybody as the same. He never had judgment of people. And as I said, you know, win, lose or draw, and in difficult pressure moments, as we have as you know, sports people, he would never shy away from giving people his time. And yeah, just a special guy. I wish he was here to see and feel that from all of us, because he was one of a kind, and he had, you know, the purest of souls. It's really hard, I can only imagine, to try to put into words not only what he meant to you and what he meant to everybody who played under him, but also what he did for the women's game. You know, that's one thing that really comes through from all of the messages I've seen on social media, the impact he had to help the WSL and women's football get to where it is now. Yeah, and very few of them, you know, probably can name on 2 hands, you know, the important people that was in the women's game right from the beginning, that cared about it, that, you know, were advocates for the women's game, that really tried to drive and push the game on into a position that it's in today, you know, working hard behind the scenes, you know, juggling jobs to give, you know, us as women, when we were a little bit younger, the opportunity, you know, to train and play, and giving up their time, you know, for at times voluntary, you know, in order to give us an opportunity to represent the teams that we did. So, yeah, he was somebody that, as I said, he cared, you know, massively about the women's game, and was there from the beginning. Once he got an opportunity in the game, you know, he was fully focused on really trying to drive and get the game to where it is now. And I'm sure, you know, he would be proud of where the game's at now, and his part he played in that.
Farrah Williams there talking about the former Liverpool and Chelsea and West Ham and Burnley, most recently of Burnley, manager Matt Beard, who has died at the age of 47. There was a big programme of non-league football yesterday. At the top of that pyramid, Gateshead in the National League, beaten at home though by Halifax in dreadful conditions at the International Stadium. There was a pitch inspection beforehand as well, and the dreadful record against Halifax goes on. It's 25 years plus now. I think it's 25 years actually since Gateshead last beat Halifax. Kane Adom scored the penalty for the home side in the first half to give them the lead, but Halifax came back in the second. Here is the Gateshead manager, Alan Armstrong.
Disappointing that we never got anything from the game. I think we deserved something from the game, especially the first half performance. We should have had a few more goals in there, not being clinical enough. And then obviously it become a little bit of a farce in the second half. You could see the ball stopping in the puddles, and that ended up costing me a goal in the end. And them played the conditions better than us. I think it showed our naivety in doing things what I told them not to do in the dressing room, and it's cost me a goal again. It's the same as the other night, cost me a goal by turning back rather than playing the ball forward. And they've got to try and get that into the heads now, that we can't just keep turning back and trying to keep possession, especially when the conditions were like that. We've got to play the ball forward and put it into areas, and that's what Halifax done to us. They didn't look to play through because of the conditions. They played in areas and forced us into mistakes and end up going away with the 3 points, and that was the difference, unfortunately.
So that Alan Armstrong there speaking to the Gateshead Club website after their defeat at home to Halifax. They are at home to Hartlepool, which is as close to a derby as they get in the league, on Tuesday night. In National League North yesterday, South Shields kept up their unbeaten run. They're still 3 points clear at the top of National League North after beating Curzon Ashton by 2-1. Paul Blackett and Caden Kelly with their goals. Here's their manager, Ian Watson.
It's an unbelievable 3 points away from home against a good team. The conditions conditions in terms of the weather, and the fact we hit traffic on the way here due to an accident. We turned up late, so it was a short warm-up, and Mags and Patter got the boys ready, Nezzy got Jasp ready, and yeah, I thought the boys performed outstanding. First half was up there with one of our best performances. The way we controlled the game, the way we passed the ball, like obviously the pitch was a bit waterlogged at times, but the way we pushed through the ball and like really took care and put a lot of love on the ball to each other, like I really liked the first half performance. And then we missed some chances to get a real comfortable lead, in my opinion. Going into half time, their keeper pulled off a couple of saves, but I think we should be scoring them moments. But the performance we really controlled. Second half, we came out and we didn't start with the same intensity. I think they upped their intensity a little bit, and then once they made their subs also, they made it quite difficult for us. I thought their subs came on and performed really well, but we defended our box unbelievably well. The goal comes from nothing from them. Like, it's disappointing from our side, which we have to address it. But we still created loads of moments on the counter attack where, if decision making's that little bit better, a little bit more clinical, we win the game really comfortable. But we're hanging on a little bit towards the end. I see it hanging on. We defended unbelievably. Like as a team, we defend so well because it means so much to us. So we defend the box really well. And ultimately, I thought it was just an outstanding performance, like a real away performance where you get the 3 points and you're just really happy to get back on the bus and go.
Ian Watson there, the South Shields manager, speaking to their club website as well after their 2-1 win at Curzon Ashton in National League North. In the NPL Premier Division, both of our sides were away from home. Morpeth's was a more negative journey home. I think JJ Hooper scored his first goal for the club, but they were beaten 3-1 at Guiseley. A happy trip home though for Hebburn, who won 2-1 at Stocksbridge Park Steels. They'd been behind at half time as well, but Joe Postil and Gildo da Silva with their goals. In the NPL East Division, Blythe Town were drawing 0-0 against Emley for 90 minutes, but couldn't see it out. Emley scoring a last minute winner. So Blythe Town 0, Emley 1. Blythe Spartans, on the other hand, drew 1-1 away at Hallam. Benji Shuriinde with their goal after 12 minutes. And Ashington with a first league win of the season, first win of the season, full stop. 2-1 away at Ossett United. Josh Gilchrist and Liam Henderson with their goals. And 3 of our teams were involved in the second qualifying round of the FA Trophy as well. There was a defeat for Consett 2-0 at home to a very good Bradford Park Avenue side who are top of their table. But Heaton Stannington and Dunstan are both through. Heaton Stannington beating Newton Aycliffe 4-0, Leighton Hopper with a couple of those, and Dunstan winning 1-0 away at Witton Albion. Away from the football, Newcastle Eagles men and women in the basketball both in action this afternoon. The men away at Caledonia Gladiators. It's their first championship match of the season. That tips off at 4 o'clock. And then half an hour later at the Community Arena in Newcastle, the women have their first competitive match of the season in any competition. It's in the Trophy. They're at home to Sheffield Hatters, and that one tips off at 4:30. In the ice hockey in the Scottish National League, Whitley Warriors, the doubleheader across the weekend. They won away at North Ayrshire Wild 3-0 yesterday, quite low scoring for ice hockey, but they were, in a couple of hours time, are at home to Kirkcaldy Kestrels at Hillheads. Face off at 5 o'clock in that one. In the darts, Chris Dobey from Dedlington through to the quarterfinals of the Hungarian Trophy. He beat Cameron Menzies 6-5. And even further afield, in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku earlier, Red Bull's Max Verstappen took the win. George Russell second for Mercedes, Carlos Sainz third for Williams. Oscar Piastri, the championship leader, crashing out on the first lap, and his McLaren teammate Lando Norris was only 7th. Right then, no goals in the first half. We did have a red card for Sunderland. You can take your pick again of which match you want to listen to. Sunderland against Aston Villa with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett on DAB Digital Radio, on Freeview Channel 711 and on BBC Sounds. Newcastle United drawing 0-0 as well away at Bournemouth if you want to listen to Matthew Racebeck and John Anderson. That one is on FM or the BBC Sport website and app.
Total Sport Northeast.
Matthew Racebeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Thank you to Colin in the studio, and Newcastle have come back onto the pitch for the second half. 0-0 against Bournemouth after 45 minutes at the Vitality Stadium, the smallest Premier League ground. They are looking at an expansion of the stadium, rebuilding one of the stands and increasing the capacity with a newly built stand. They would want to infill the 4 corners and do some work on the area around the ground. They do have a bit of space. Now, the stadium's not actually in Bournemouth town. It's about a mile away or so. It's a park and a residential area around it. But space to expand, and if they have a team that's in the Premier League consistently, this is their 9th Premier League season in 2 spells combined, then maybe they could cope with an increased capacity, get more fans in. They want to take the stadium from just over 11,000 to just over 20,000. AFC Bournemouth, who are going to make a change for the second half, and James Hill is going to come on, a centre back who's been playing at right back, and he will be replacing Alex Jimenez by the looks of things. The defender on loan from Milan, he was yellow carded, wasn't he, right at the end of the first half, Ando, for the foul on Hall.
Yeah.
So Hill, who started the last match, dropped to the bench today, back on as a half-time sub. No changes for Newcastle. Pope, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Livramento, Miley, Tonali, Hall, Murphy, Willock and Voltemada.
How close can he get it to the corner flag?
In green and white, Newcastle to kick off for the second half. Tonali with the rugby move, goes for the corner flag to cheers from the away fans, who now have the ball among them, but they return it, and Newcastle can push up and squeeze. They're shooting towards the right as we look. Bournemouth take the throw, and it's a long throw headed by Botman on halfway, and now Chow back to Pope. Bournemouth in black and red striped shirts, black shorts and socks. Whistle's gone for an offside against Voltemada as he challenged for the ball in the air. Senesi, ball deep into Newcastle territory. Livramento's header, then on by Tonali. Voltemada backing into Senesi. He's tried to turn, nothing given as he claims a free kick, and it's a Bournemouth throw just ahead of halfway on the near side. The home team, Georgi Petrovic in goal. Now James Hill, Bafode Diakite, Marcos Senesi and Adrian Truffer at the back from right to left. Tyler Adams and Alex Scott, the England under-21 European Championship winner in the summer. Scott in midfield. Antoine Semenyo, 3 goals this season. Marcus Tavernier, David Brooks and then Evan Nielsen in attack. Good defending by Byrne on the far side, then a nice turn inside away from the player tracking him. Tonali now out to the touchline to Hall, who tries to drop his shoulder and get away, but Scott has won it for the hosts, and now Semenyo. This could be dangerous, just on the inside right position, but he sweeps it across to Brooks on the left wing. Now the 2nd minute of the second half. Brooks cross headed away by Chow. Scott with a short ball to Adams, dispossessed by Newcastle. Voltemada showed good feet and wins a free kick. He's been caught there, looks like it's a sore one. Bit of a limp, Nick Voltemada.
I think he just stood on his foot, didn't he?
He's a big lad, but he's wiry, isn't he? Voltemada.
He's got quick feet for a big lad.
He's not big and broad like a lot of Premier League centre forwards are, but excellent work with the ball on the floor there, winning a free kick. Pope, the long ball, looking for Voltemada. It's too high for him. Hill won the header. Scott now bringing it down and turning well in midfield and lifting it over the top. Tavernier gives chase. Pope lets it come and sends it back into Bournemouth territory, into their defensive third of the pitch. Senesi with a clearance onto the head of Malik Chow for Newcastle. Out wide, Brooks with a touch, and it's gone out for a Newcastle throw in Bournemouth's half. Livramento with it. On the bench, Ramsdale, Trippier, who turned 35 on Friday, Kieran Trippier. Lascelles, Joelinton, Barnes, Kraft, Osula, Elanga and Bruno. 7 changes today. Livramento's throw could be a foul throw. It is a foul throw. Bournemouth were complaining that he'd gained too many yards up the pitch, and then he ends up and not taking a correct throw in. So it's Bournemouth's ball, forwards towards Evan Nielsen, good leap, heading it forwards ahead of Chow, but Livramento covering, back to Botman, and now Pope on his left. That's gone out on the far side. Brooks didn't let the keeper settle. Bournemouth, diagonal ball from Senesi, Byrne header, Willock. It's gone only as far as Semenyo, then Tavernier with a block shot, Semenyo at the edge of the box in the centre. Brooks got Trufer on the outside, tries to lift a cross in, it's taken a big deflection and Botman heads away. Voltemade is isolated there, couldn't get the ball, there were two on him, but there was nobody in green within 20 yards after it was cleared. Now another forward ball that's touched on by Newcastle for Willock, taking it out wide left, then cuts inside, back to Hall. They slow it down but keep possession with Lewis Miley. This is the ground he made his first Premier League starts at, Miley, November 2023.
Rattled the crossbar, didn't he?
Yeah, not long after his introduction into the first team 2 seasons ago. Quick throw from Newcastle on the right wing. Livramento, Murphy and Voltemade are all involved in this move. Now Bournemouth clear, but only as far as Tonali. Livramento 20 yards out, dragging it back and has to play it to Chow. Lets it run through his legs. Did well under pressure from Evan Nielsen, inside to Botman, who steps over halfway, then plays it square to Hall. Up the line for Willock to chase after. Joe Willock trying to use his athleticism to get in, but that's good defending from Diakite. The Bournemouth clearance then headed forwards by Byrne. Home side lose it. Tonali to Murphy. Voltemade. Tonali drives on into the box. Sandro Tonali with a back heel. Livramento's cross. Voltemade back to goal. Down. Says he was pulled down. Newcastle appeal for the penalty. Referee waves away those appeals and Bournemouth go up the other end on the attack. Tavernier, it's a good run in the middle of the United half, then plays it back to halfway. Voltemade still appealing. Referee tells him to stop. Play goes on. VAR will have to have a look at this. There was seemingly some contact, but we'd want to see it again. 0-0. That could be a big moment. 52 minutes. Bournemouth still with the ball. It hasn't gone out of play. Rob Jones, the referee. Matt Donoghue, the VAR. And we are yet to see it again. Senesi for Bournemouth. Into the penalty area. Too long for Tavernier. It's gone behind off Evan Nielsen. Now, what will happen here? Will there be any follow-up to that challenge on Voltemade? Doesn't look like it. Livramento's cross, he had his back to goal. Diakite had a hand on him. Is there enough in that for a penalty? And if not,
no.
Why not?
No. There's not enough in that for a penalty, is there?
He felt he was impeded by the defender, but the referee said no. Semenyo, dangerous run. Chow makes a challenge, then Livramento with a block. They haven't quite got it clear. Now they have, and the referee stopped it because there's 2 players down in the area, Livramento and Semenyo. After that genuine attempt from both players to get the ball, Newcastle were bringing it away. Away fans not happy with the referee stopping there a potential counter-attack after not giving them a penalty. Chow made one challenge, Ando, but Semenyo got the rebound of the ball and Livramento did just enough.
Yeah, he just got there in time, didn't he? He's just about to pull the trigger
with the second one. And Voltemade he's making his point to Diakite about the challenge. And they're still talking about it. Jacob Murphy comes over to the near touchline to speak to Jason Tyndall. Now the German is convinced. Take a look at it again now from another angle. Cross from Livramento. Now he takes it back to goal. Decent enough first touch. Wants to get the second one. Does he go down too easily? Is that the problem? Because as soon as the contact, the shirt pull, I think he hits the floor.
As soon as he feels something on his shirt, he just goes down, doesn't he? But they all do it nowadays.
And we've not seen the explanation from the PGMOL, the group who look after the referees, anything specific. We've not heard the communication between the officials, but no penalty for Newcastle. 0-0 at Bournemouth on BBC Radio Newcastle. A reminder, Sunderland have 10 men, and their match against Aston Villa also a 2 o'clock kickoff. If you want the red and white commentary from Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, it's on Freeview Channel 711, BBC Radio Newcastle on DAB, and also available on BBC Sounds. Livramento is off the pitch, as is Semenyo. It's 10v10, and the match restarted with a Newcastle ball forwards from Nick Pope. Petrovic at the other end, with his luminous orange and white gloves, picks it up, and it's played on the far side by Bournemouth into midfield, into the centre. Tavernier. Now Scott. Fair up the line for Brooks. Back to Senesi. 10 minutes into the second half. Livramento and Semenyo have returned to the field.
It's all very slow, isn't it? There's no pace to the game, no tempo to it.
Scott for Bournemouth, skipping run across midfield, but the forward pass intercepted by Lewis Hall, and now Joe Willock on the run up the left side for United, tackled by Tavernier. Senesi left side of the centre circle, right on the halfway line. Up to Semenyo, gets contact from Botman, but manages to find a teammate. Brooks's ball to Semenyo, edge of the area, down under Hall's challenge, nothing given for Bournemouth.
You're joking, get up there with that.
Oh, Byrne and Willock try to combine, but they lose it. Then they've got it back, United, through Voltemada and Murphy to Tonali. Livramento making the break up this near touchline. Tonali's pass on to Livramento, looks for Voltemada with the cross, but it's caught by Petrovic, and it was too close to the keeper.
Yeah.
Hall makes a good challenge in midfield as Bournemouth try to come away. He's played it up to Willock, and now back to Miley. And Lewis Miley still got it on the far side as United send Elanga to warm up. So we've got the likes of Bruno and Barnes and Joe Linton on the bench as well. Byrne to Botman. And now Tonali, some possession for them. Miley away from Adams to Voltemada, who's come deep. Gets it back to Miley, and he moves it out wide to Hall, inside to Voltemada. Tackled by Scott. There were two on him, Diakite and Scott, and it was the latter who made the challenge. A good one, scooped the ball away. Forwards from the home team, but Newcastle with a throw. Livramento to Botman. Has to be quick. Plays it through a little gap for Livramento, wants to go on a run, and he's got away from Brooks, held him off and tried to release Murphy. It's blocked, but it's come back to Livramento. Now the chance to deliver for the fullback. He's played it to Tonali instead, outside the area. High ball from Tonali. Lewis Hall back into the middle. Bournemouth want handball. They don't get it. Play on. They've cleared it. Shaw here lifts it over his shoulder into the middle of midfield. Miley, lovely touch to bring it down.
Loads of space and time.
It's still goalless. Miley to Tonali. What a turn from Tonali. Scoops it up and turns away out to the right. Getting past Adams. Brilliant technique from Tonali. Tireless. as we are so used to from him. Murphy and Livramento from the throw. Bournemouth win it back in the corner and Trafera away. Tonali heads it forwards but out.
This game's here for the winning. It's here for the taking, and you just up the tempo.
Elanga and Barnes are going to come on in Newcastle's first changes. Those changes are imminent. I think it's just the 2 changes for the moment. Dan Burn controls the ball from the Bournemouth clearance up from the throw. Botman back to Pope in the centre of the box. Bournemouth 8 shots to Newcastle's 4, and they've had 57% possession, so more than Newcastle. Voltemada wants a free kick, another challenge in the air, and another decision that doesn't go his way.
Welcome to the Premier League, son.
Justin Kluivert, the hat-trick hero at St James's Park for Bournemouth in January, is going to be coming on for Andoni Iraola's team. Hill, the half-time substitute, hooks the ball clear from the edge of the penalty area. Botman sends it forwards with height. Voltemada can't get there. Miley out to Hall. Lewis Hall's wriggled free. He's done really well up to the edge of the penalty area, but then being dispossessed by Semenyo. There were 2 on him. Semenyo's long ball over the top. Brooks is chasing. Chow and Pope have rather left it for one another. And Brooks goes down.
See, I don't know how that's not a free kick. That's obstruction.
Yeah, Bournemouth want the decision. They don't get it. Livramento to Tonali. Now he's down, but nothing given. Evan Nielsen comes away with the ball. Willock's won it back though, and Willock's being pulled, and that's a free kick. So both teams wanting a decision, not getting it.
Awful.
And Newcastle now awarded something by Rob Jones for the pullback on Willock. Changes are about to be made. Bournemouth going to make a double change. Ryan Christie's going to come on. By the looks of things, the Scottish midfielder. So a double change for each team. Remember Barnes against Wolves when he was pulled back and they had a quick look, didn't they, for a red card? It was not quite the same in terms of the contact, but the player trying to run through on goal, challenge comes in, but it came about because Chow and Pope
left it for each other.
Bouncing, slowing ball for each other. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0. Jacob Murphy off for Elanga. Joe Willock off for Harvey Barnes. Like-for-like changes, John Anderson.
Yeah. Elanga gives it a bit of pace.
Ryan Christie on for Alex Scott for Bournemouth, and David Brooks is replaced by Justin Kluivert, who is yet to start in the league this season. Kluivert. Coming on as a second half substitute today. Bournemouth were 9th last season. Kluivert was a key player. That 9th equalled their best Premier League finish, which they had achieved once under Eddie Howe, 2017. Here's the free kick from Newcastle, wide to the right to Elanga, cross towards the near post, which goes out, and Elanga should get United a throw from this, which he does. Semenyo challenging for the ball with Elanga on the touchline, but it had enough from the clearance to go out. And Livramento with a long throw.
Big boy has gone forward again.
New set piece coach Martin Mark is in the technical area as Livramento sends it in, headed away. Miley will be first to it, but goes back to Hall. Wide to Miley, could go up the line to Barnes. Can't, it's blocked by Kluivert, the sub. Hall with a throw to take. near to the halfway line, but in Bournemouth's half of the pitch, the attacking half for Newcastle, for Voltemade didn't have enough on it, headed away, and Hall has been unable to control it, but to be fair to him, he's won it back, and
he's been poor today, Semenya.
Got a throw inside to Tonali and give Newcastle some midfield energy. Livramento, Elanga makes the run in behind. Livramento looks for him. Can Elanga's pace get him there? Well, he got the touch, but Senesi came across and used his strength to make sure that he was in control of the situation. So although Elanga got his toe to the ball, it went behind under pressure with the defender leaning in. Goal kick. How has the second half been different to the first half, John Anderson, if at all?
It hasn't. It's been very pedestrian, hasn't it? There's been no urgency about it.
Ryan Christie wins a throw on the near side. Eddie Howe out calling the instructions in his technical area. It'll be a Newcastle ball this time from the initial Bournemouth throw. Livramento on the halfway line. Tonali gives him an angle. He's gone too far forwards. Has to go back. Livramento looking for Voltemade. It goes beyond him. He turns to chase after the ball, but Senesi clears. Botman with a header up. Burn and Miley, they've collided with each other. Referee stopped the game. Miley got straight up. Dan Burn tried to get up and then went back down. The possibility of a head injury. Bournemouth aren't happy that the match was stopped. Burn is still down and slowly moves up into a different position. He's sitting on the floor and now he lifts himself up. It's one that looked worse than it perhaps was, and Dan Burn's okay. Goal at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland have 10 men and they are behind. Matty Cash has scored for Aston Villa, and that's Villa's first Premier League goal of the season, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Here it's goalless on BBC Radio Newcastle, midway through the second half. Not the most entertaining clash, is it, Ando?
No, it's been poor.
Harvey Barnes nicks the ball back for Newcastle on halfway. Looks for the run of Elanga, it's just ahead of him. Troffer is there. Up the line, but Elanga's got a deflection on the clearance, and then Livramento to Chow. Miley looking for Tonali, that's misplaced. Kluivert through the middle for Bournemouth, then to the left to Tavernier. They've given it away, Newcastle, after doing well to win it back. Christie to Adams, and on the left wing, on the attack. Then they go back to Senesi on halfway. Christie has got a bit of space here to the right, 10 yards outside the box, goes to the wide position to Hill, carries on his run, gets the return pass, but that's a goal kick. Joelinton and Bruno go to warm up, joining Lascelles and Osula along the touchline. Nick Pope places the ball down. The goal kick. Reminder of that statistic from Bruno, left out for the first time in almost 2 years in the Premier League. Haven't won any of the 8 Premier League matches that before today that he hadn't started since he made his full debut in 2022. ball in behind from Bournemouth. Botman and Chow chasing. Botman's header. Evan Nielsen on his shoulder. Botman brings it away. Very good defending, and the ball lifted forwards for Elanga to run onto, but it's chested down by Senesi. And Diakite to Hill up the line for Semenyo, brings it back, plays it to Diakite. To the goalkeeper Petrovic. It's Bournemouth possession, short passes, all given away by Diakite. Dan Burn out of defence. They've got players forwards here. It's inside to Tonali, away from Senesi. Wide it goes to Barnes. Bournemouth get bodies back. Barnes looking to take on Hill. Goes on the outside. Heads for the line. High cross in from Barnes, but too high for Burn in the middle. Elanga can't get there, and put out of play on the near side by Tavernier. Couldn't make the most of the initial mistake from Bournemouth, and Livramento drops the throw at the feet of Chow on halfway. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, it was a chance to break, wasn't it? Bournemouth give it away. They got their lines mixed up.
Chow, that's a good pass to break the lines, and Voltemada lays it off to Tonali, who sends it up the right wing for Livramento. It's closed down by Tavernier, then it's into Tonali. Good cross towards Barnes and Voltemada, and it was Barnes who was closest. Tonali, lovely ball in, but flicked away by Bournemouth. Now Dan Burn left wing, he hangs up a ball into the penalty area. Tavernier's header clear. Tonali brings it down. Chow into the area for Voltemada. It's gone behind off his shin.
Yeah, it's the first one that's got away from him though, isn't it? It's usually so good when they're pinged into him like that. This one's just bounced up onto his shin.
Georgi Petrovic with a goal kick. He was the keeper playing for Chelsea when they beat Newcastle on penalties in the League Cup quarter-final a couple of seasons ago. That was a painful night. They were almost through, conceded in injury time, and then got knocked down on pens. Bournemouth's new number one, Petrovic, long ball forwards, and now Sven Botman at the back, receives it from Lewis Miley, has to go to his goalkeeper Nick Pope. 72nd minute, Pope has slipped and very nearly made a mistake with the clearance. Tavernier, it's gone out of him, played against him by Livramento. Newcastle with a throw at right back. Hasn't been too much for the supporters, many of whom will have made a very long journey from the northeast to the south coast to get excited about, but there's still time. 18 minutes of it remaining, plus whatever's added. Here's Elanga to Tonali, drop of the shoulder, then a move inside. Barnes lets it run. Barnes, tackle comes in, but he's found the pass to Hall. Dan Burn on an overlapping run up the left wing. Big Dan Burn cuts inside, good skill. Now Barnes edge of the area, challenge coming in, Barnes going and still going, down he goes, referee says corner. Whoa, the way the referee blew the whistle there, I wondered where he was going to point. Harvey Barnes took it away from Hill, in came the challenge, got a toe on the ball.
Oh, it's never a penalty.
And it's good defending.
It's a great tackle. Great tackle.
Has someone just been shown a yellow card? I'm sure he had he's got his card out there, hasn't he? The referee. It's a corner for Newcastle on the left. That was a good run from Barnes, change of pace, and almost got the shot away. Left of the goal, but from close range. Elanga,
another opportunity though. Corner kick.
Want to see a good delivery. Voltemada being pushed around, whistle's gone. Here comes the corner from Elanga, headed away by Evan Nielsen.
You've got 5-6 footers in there and you don't miss the first man.
It happens too often. It's happened all season. Burn on his chest from Tonali's crossfield ball. Back to Livramento. Not a lot on. He wins a throw. Burns picked it up and he's going to leave it for Livramento. 0-0. Bournemouth change. Here it comes. And Marcus Tavernier is going off, and Amin Adli is his replacement. Moroccan international winger, a £25 million signing in the summer from Bayer Leverkusen. Match will restart with Newcastle taking a throw. Livramento, angled throw to Voltemada. They've got it back to Tonali, and they've scooped it through for Livramento into the penalty area. Barnes flicked it through his legs, looking for Livramento again, and cleared out off Evan Nielsen under pressure from Chow. Referee's whistle's gone, telling Tonali not to take the throw from the wrong spot. Sunderland have equalised against Aston Villa, 1-1. Commentary on that one on DAB and Freeview channel 711. Nicely played by Newcastle. Livramento's cross from the right blocked. It's out for a throw, probably in line with the penalty spot. Wilson Isidore with Sunderland's equaliser, and they have 10 men. Newcastle at 0-0 with Bournemouth. 14 minutes to play. Livramento could give it back to Tonali from the throw, or it could be a long throw. Voltemada, Botman and Burn are the three nearest to the goal. Then they've got 4 on the edge of the area. It is a long throw towards the near post, and it's gone behind. That's going to be a goal kick. It's been frustrating, hasn't it?
Hasn't been great
to watch, and things like that, set pieces, just not working. Elanga putting the pressure on as Bournemouth played out from the back. Chow's come to intercept. Livramento lets it run through his legs out to the touchline, and then has to pass it back to Botman under pressure from Evan Nielsen. A lovely turn from Botman. And now Chow. Ooh, that's a little bit untidy. He hasn't got much wrong today, Chow. And he's handled the ball there after
he's getting booked for it as well.
Sloppy first touch, and he's yellow carded. I was going to say that I think he's played well, and then that happens. Bournemouth have a free kick. It's 5 yards or so ahead of the halfway line on the left. Traffer runs towards the ball, then a disguised pass played inside. Listening to BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport is back tomorrow to reflect on today's matches. You can listen on BBC Sound, search for Total Sport North East. You can listen live or catch up anytime. Monday to Friday, 6 till 8. The latest from Newcastle and Sunderland, and the North East's only football phone-in, featuring former players from both clubs. Traffer plays it inside, up to the corner of the box. Tonali's pinched it from Christie, and up the line to Voltemada. Nice take, and then loses out on the second ball. It was 2-on-1, so he was outnumbered. Clivert to Christie, sends over a ball. Botman volleys it away. Newcastle push up. No further changes yet from Eddie Howe. Heading to the final 10 minutes. He made the switch with Barnes and Elanga on, but nothing else, as Hill whips over a ball from the right. Livramento has to deal with it by heading it behind.
There's only one red and black shirt in there. It was going to have to be a pinpoint ball.
Haven't done a lot of defending in the second half, but we've got to watch this. One arm in the air from Kluivert, and the delivery, it's Elanga at the near post, and a useful header clear. It's about 25 yards from the goal, but it's Christie who collects, plays it to Kluivert, then sends over a cross of his own, left-footed. Burns header clear, another header from Elanga, and the referee says that's a foul on the Newcastle winger, so he's given them a free kick. Plenty of encouragement from the side of the pitch from Bruno and Joelinton, warming up in luminous orange bibs. Wonder if we'll see them as late substitutes. They look long for Voltemada, headed away, then on by Bournemouth. Chow's header clear, it's come to Christie, who goes down under a challenge now. Malik Chow and Sandro Tonali were both there. I don't know which one actually produced the contact, but Bournemouth fans suspect it's Chow and are calling for a second yellow. We might need to see it again. I think it was Chow, but Tonali was chasing back as well. Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraiola's gone to the fourth official, who is Farai Halam today, and they are complaining about that. I think Tonali had a bit of a push at Christie, and it was Chow.
You know that every time somebody's on a yellow card and they make another foul, people want a yellow card straight away. Not every foul's a yellow card, mind you. I'm not sure.
Might be a bit fortunate there. Well, they could take him off and put an extra midfielder on if they're worried about him picking up a second booking. But this free kick is close to goal. It's to the left, a little bit back from the D, but only a couple of steps. We've entered the final 10 minutes on BBC Radio Newcastle, and Nick Pope has got a wall of tall players ahead of him. 4 Newcastle, then 3 Bournemouth boys. As Kluivert runs over the free kick, Christie chips it in, and what on earth was that? Pope has picked it up. It was obviously a clever move, but nobody made the run. Pope with a quick kick. Elanga, look at the speed from Elanga, and it's put out into the near side by Truffert, who was covering. Elanga's pace just puts pressure on.
You would just say that free kick's in keeping with the rest of the game. He
dinked it over the wall, but nobody ran onto it, and Nick Pope just gathered it. 0-0. Jamal Lascelles comes back to the bench. Jason Tyndall's calling for William Osula as Livramento prepares to take the throw 20 yards out. Another long one into the box, headed away. Miley to Hall, first time from Hall, back to the edge of the area. Botman on, Voltemada can't get it. Whistle's gone anyway. I think we're going to see Jamal Lascelles
on. Yeah,
they must want to stay with the back five, and maybe they don't want to use Bruno and Joelinton. To be fair to Joelinton, he's just back from injury, and they've got the cup tie on Wednesday against Bradford that you'd think he'd probably start. But we may see him, or Bruno, as Christie up to the edge of the area. Kluivert tries to thread a ball through. Newcastle block it and then clear it. Jamal Lascelles was left out of the Champions League squad, but he's in the 25-man Premier League squad, and he's going to make his first appearance here since the end of March last year. In that, you remember, of course, you remember the 4-3 comeback against West Ham. It's his last Premier League appearance. Lascelles coming on for Chow, no surprise after the yellow card and then the second challenge that went unpunished in terms of cards. And Nick Voltemada replaced by William Osula. Jason Tyndall with his arm around him and the last word in his ear. Voltemada taps hands with Tyndall and then Howe. on his way to the bench. 6 minutes actually of normal time remaining, 0-0. 2 more changes, 2 more like-for-like changes.
Yeah, you didn't expect Valdemada to play the 90 minutes, but he's done all right again.
Hall with a long throw. Osula the target. Barnes tries to bring the ball down under control. Can't do so. Lascelles straight into the action on his thigh. Nice piece of control, and Botman with a long clearance from the left. Has that stayed in play? It has. It's Diakite's header. Then it's up the line from Bournemouth, but out. Maybe you might expect this to finish goalless, but there is still time. Pope looking for Osula, backs in and nudges it down to Barnes, who goes on a run. He's 35 yards out and then passes it wide to Hall. Elanga, who's moved over to the left wing, forwards to Barnes. Good move onto Hall in the corner. Lewis Hall trying to turn. There's 2 with him. He's been dispossessed. Elanga's made the block and Newcastle get the throw. Last touch was off a red and black shirt. Lewis Hall roared on by the Geordies behind him on their feet in the away section. Long throw from the left. Get up towards the 6-yard box. A Bournemouth header and then a Bournemouth clearance from Clivert out to the near side and kept in by the substitute Adley. Truffert now to Adams deep in his own half, and that latest long throw doesn't amount to anything for United. Up to the edge of the penalty area, Big Dan Burn rises to head clear. This is Harvey Barnes trying to play it on to Lewis Hall. It was blocked, but it's gone out for Newcastle's ball. Four minutes remaining, 0-0 here, 1-1 at Sunderland. Burn, long ball, Osula to leap for. He's done well to knock it down for Elanga. Finds Barnes. Bournemouth sliced clearance that goes backwards towards the corner on the left. Adley's pass inside. It's a risky one, but Truffert, who's
done well,
had a good game and looks very assured at left back, helps out his teammate, keeps Bournemouth in possession. Elanga now the furthest player forward. Sula has gone to the left. It's like a 5-4-1 at the moment with the way they are organised. Christie takes it and turns and feeds Adley on the left wing. That's a dangerous ball in. Botman with a big clearance in terms of importance and distance, gets it out for a throw. Christie inside to Adams. Miley a few yards away from him. Back it goes to the halfway line, and Diakite played around Elanga to Senesi. Bournemouth possession with 2 minutes to play. Newcastle women were 3-0 down at half-time against Birmingham, also a 2 o'clock kickoff. They've got a couple of goals, but Birmingham have got another. That one's 4-2 to Birmingham in the closing stages. Here's Truffert, and he's gone down under a challenge from Livramento, who cannot believe the referee's decision of free kick to Bournemouth. Wide left, and defending to be done now. Adley, left-footed. Clivert with his right next to the ball. Semenyo, Diakite, Senesi all in there. Evan Nielsen the striker too. One player left back by Bournemouth. Newcastle, every player in a green shirt defending. Referee seems happy. Just over a minute of normal time remaining. Kluivert, it's towards the back of the 6-yard box. There are only Newcastle players there. Bournemouth head it back into the middle. Jamal Lascelles away. Christie, that's a blocked shot. Referee's given handball. Edge of the area. And Newcastle are not happy with Rob Jones. 2-3 players confront him. In fact, there's 5 there. It's hit him on the hand, but his hand is turned side on. His hand is.
I don't see what else he can do. He can't get out of the way of that.
It's tucked into his body. Bournemouth had a free kick in a similar position and they made a mess of it a few minutes ago. They've got another set piece. It's closer to goal, this one. It's on the line of the D as it bends towards the left side of the box. Kieran Trippier is warming up and is helping Newcastle organise themselves, communicating with Elanga. There's 5 minutes on the numbers board and we've just entered that period of additional time and it's still 0-0, but Kluivert with a big moment for Bournemouth, or could be Adley with the free kick. Semenyo's also free on the edge of the area, but 10 yards or so, maybe 15 away from the ball. But if they square it, he could hit it. There's a player lying down behind the wall, but I think this is going to be Justin Kluivert, and it is, and Pope shoves it away, and it's gone behind for a corner on the far side. He read Kluivert's intentions and makes a big save.
He hasn't had a lot to do, but that's a top save. Getting down low to his left hand side, scooping it away.
Corner on the far side, left footed, about to come in. Newcastle still defending. Tonali at the back post, nobody on the front post. Here's the corner, the ball has dropped. Bournemouth are appealing for something. Referee puts his finger to his earpiece. They've got another corner and the referee has signalled play on. I think, no, finger on the earpiece again. They're going to take the corner. Or are they? No, he's told the corner kick taker to wait because he's gone to deal with something in the middle of the box. Nil-nil. Added on time. Here's the Bournemouth corner. Now that they're cleared to take it, whip to the near post, Elanga away. And Elanga chasing, and Osula chasing, and it makes Bournemouth send it forwards quickly, but there's too much on that. Newcastle United throw in at right back. 3 minutes of the additional 5 left to play. Livramento, no rush. Lobbed throw towards Osula, well marshalled by the defender. Chases after the ball, but it's away. Then Hill, I don't know if that was a shot, but whatever it was, it's gone a long way wide of goal.
Whatever it was awful.
Could be heading for another draw. 2 minutes remaining now. Pope with a goal kick, and a long goal kick at that. Osula climbs, Adams wins the header, and then another from Barnes. And the whistle's gone for a Bournemouth free kick. Ball back in play. Christie to Truffaut, up to Evan Nielsen. One back by Botman. Tonali to Lascelles. And Livramento finding Elanga. That's a loose pass inside towards Tonali. Ryan Christie for Bournemouth. Tonali's pinched it back. Now they need to get numbers forward, Newcastle. There's a minute to go. Could they nick it very, very late? Hall onto Tonali. Never stops running. Inside to Elanga. Back to Hall. On towards Barnes, but given away. And it just sums the afternoon up. And Bournemouth give it away. As does that.
Blow up, referee. Do us a favour.
He could have done that half an hour ago. They want to take a quick throw. Quick free kicks are seemingly under the microscope, so a quick throw-ins. We've got to do it again. I don't think the other ball was on the pitch, but maybe it was. Lewis Hall up the line, 30 seconds to play. Bournemouth header, Christie with it in midfield. Scooped ball in behind for Evan Nielsen. He's got there before Byrne. He's out to the touchline. Newcastle throw. Dan Byrne with the ball in his hands, just up to the referee now. And he has decided that's enough. From the exertions of Thursday nights in the Champions League against Barcelona to their longest away trip in the league this season, Newcastle United, a big effort over the last 3 or 4 days, and on the road in the Premier League, 3 0-0 draws in their first 3 away matches. Sunderland, Aston Villa has finished 1-1 at the Stadium of Light. So Newcastle another point on the road, no goals conceded but none scored, and this one was scrappy, John Anderson, and not a great watch.
No, very scrappy. 0-0's probably about right. Neither keeper's really been called upon to do a great deal. Nick Pope from the free kick maybe, but apart from that, chances were few and far between. Neither side could get hold of the ball and keep it. It was just a poor game. There's not a great deal more to say about it, to be quite honest.
Newcastle still haven't beaten Bournemouth in the Premier League since Eddie Howe became Newcastle manager. They did win a cup tie against them 3 years ago, but no Premier League win for Howe against his former club. And he's going to take his players towards the away fans on the far side. Bournemouth, we didn't see the best of them, despite their really good start to the season. They're up to 3rd though in the Premier League table, 10 points, same as Spurs. Behind Liverpool, the leaders. Arsenal are down to 4th. They kick off at 4:30, a home match against Manchester City. Manchester City, like Newcastle, have 6 points. Newcastle are in 13, City above them on goal difference. But obviously City are about to play, so that could well change. But at least when they're not playing that well, Leeds was okay, wasn't great. I think this was probably less enjoyable as a spectacle than Leeds. They're still getting something, and
they're not conceding goals.
Well, apart from Liverpool, when they conceded 3, but didn't face too many shots or big chances, they haven't conceded in the Premier League. No. So in the matches that they've played, they've kept clean sheets in the others in the Premier League. So what is that, 4 out of 5?
Yeah, but you need to be scoring at the other end,
of course.
And we didn't look like scoring today. Little bits of half chances, well, not even half chances. You wouldn't call them half chances, but look, you come here, you get a point, you're happy, because a record here over the seasons hasn't been great. Performances here over the seasons haven't been great. And it wasn't a great spectacle today, but you would have taken a point before the game kicked off, I suppose.
If you count Arsenal at the end of last season, it's no away goal for Newcastle in their last 4 matches, something they last did in December 2020 to January 2021 under Steve Bruce. But 3 0-0 draws away from home this season. And they've got Thursday. They came through Thursday. They lost the match. There's some good things. The Champions League campaign is underway. Premier League, they've picked up another point. Then Wednesday, we'll see another much changed team, won't we? 7 changes today, Ando, different system. Bradford City, top of League One, Wednesday night at St James's Park. Newcastle League Cup holders return to the competition. And more changes we would expect.
You would expect more changes on Wednesday with an eye on Arsenal next Sunday. So we'll wait and see what we get on Wednesday evening.
And that match will be live on BBC Radio Newcastle, as every Newcastle United game is. Join us tomorrow from 6 for Total Sports to have your say. Call us on the North East Only football phone in to reflect on this weekend's matches and hear reaction from Eddie Howe. Final score at the Vitality Stadium: AFC Bournemouth 0, Newcastle United 0.